That was terrible.
That was crap. That was garbage. This place sucks.
Overreaction
Mondays.
Monday.
On a Monday. What do you got over there,
Hey, what's up,
Christopher?
guys? Everybody good? Good
Oh, we're
weekend?
great. Yeah, we're great.
Rich, how was your sports weekend?
It was great last night. It was great last night. Awesome.
I have Yarbrough in fantasy. He's
man.
been awesome.
He's been great.
Been good.
But thanks for asking.
No problem.
How was yours?
Busy.
All right. Cut to it.
Little kids got smoked. Football, obviously, always on the brain. Let's do a couple football topics here. I'm thinking about the NFC, right? Oh, big blow. The Lions. Frank Ragnow retired at age 29. I think the 49ers are the biggest threat to knock off the Eagles in the NFC this year.
You know what, man?
I don't think we're not talking enough about
what's happened
the
to you?
49ers.
What's happened to you?
Well, also
What are
everyone
you
thinks I
like-
hate them, which is kind of ridiculous.
Well, you think their coach keeps hitting his head on the ceiling right around fourth quarter of most important games.
Well,
That's been your stance.
I only
for
have
years.
the facts to back me up on that.
That's been your stance for years.
Yeah, because it keeps happening.
Okay. And then, you don't believe Brock Purdy's worth the money that they paid him. Like
I don't.
You think they should have let him play out his contract and let have all of that comes with such a thing for your franchise quarterback.
But that doesn't mean he's not the right quarterback for what the system that they run.
But I'm only pointing these things out because this is a surprising subject for me. Because, obviously the NFC, as I mentioned last week when I did my top 5 on the most, the deepest divisions in football, what's the best divisions in football, I said not only is it the NFC North atop the list, but this is the best the NFC North may have been ever. We may never see the NFC North better than this, despite Frank Ragnow's retirement. I have it. It's just hard to They're in sleeper team mode right now. San Francisco.
And the easiest schedule in the league.
I know they don't have sleeper team talent.
Right.
They've got, real live Super Bowl worthy talent, but the rest of them around need to show that they are too, which is why I would just peg the Commanders to be the best one.
I think a lot of good things, fortunate things went the Commanders' way last year, and I don't know if that's going to happen again this season.
I think
a regression back to the mean.
What do you think, TJ? You want to hop in here? Because I'm about to.
I think the stars are aligned
my declaration
for San Francisco
here.
I agree with you at one point because you spent all of last year saying how it was over for the Niners, and now for you to jump back in and say they're the top contender.
That was then. This is now.
It's a little weird. I can't think of a better option than the Niners. You know what I want to say, but I'm not going to say them.
I know you want to say Dallas, but in all seriousness, though, I mean, you'd have to think somebody from the NFC North could do it.
You do, but if you look at, obviously, we'd all like to say Detroit, right? But lost both coordinators. Their center just
tough.
Retired. Their best defensive player is still coming back from a really devastating injury.
Right.
They are going to take a step back. Now, can the other team step up? Is the question there? But the Niners, the schedule, McCaffrey back. Kittle back. They're adding pieces on defense.
Ayuk back.
I got it, and I have. There's reasons to call the Niners overlooked, and there's reasons to call the Niners cooked. But I think overlooked outweighs cooked. But I don't even think they're the biggest threat to the Eagles in their own division. That's the Rams. So I'll rule this an overreaction. Christopher, go for it.
Okay. All right. Always the quarterbacks on the mind. Now, last week I had this player in my top 5 of guys who could become a superstar in 2025. But also, 2 things can be true at once. Jordan Love is in the top 5 of quarterbacks with the most to prove in 2025.
I just don't see Jordan Love a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now.
That you're misreading the question.
In
Top
the
5 quarterbacks with the most to prove in 2025. Jordan Love is in there.
I don't even think that either. Give me the 5 then. Give me the others who are in that neighborhood. I know you're putting Justin Herbert there.
Justin Herbert, big time.
I know you're putting Tua in there. You're putting Trevor Lawrence in there.
I don't expect anything from Tua. So yes, Trevor Lawrence, yes.
Well, if you don't expect anything from Tua, then he's got something to prove.
I don't even think about Tua.
Wow.
I don't think of Miami as contenders. I don't even think about them in that way. You're talking about Josh Allen. You're talking about Lamar Jackson. You're talking about
what do they
Jordan
have to prove?
Love.
What do those guys have to prove? What do they have to prove?
Can you win a Super Bowl or not?
They can win a Super Bowl.
No, they can't.
Nope.
They haven't. They haven't.
I know that.
So they cannot win a Super Bowl yet.
They've done
Can
everything
you?
else that it's the last thing that they have to
We
prove.
always have different opinions on what these
Jordan
sports
Love,
phrases
are you
mean.
a $55 million
Can I ask you a question?
quarterback worthy of the accolades you have been given at an early stage without proving much?
Exactly.
What are we doing here?
If Josh Allen retires after, a great 15, 16-year career, right, and he doesn't have a Super Bowl win, is that going to be looked as a bit of a disappointment? I think
No,
so.
then he
Yes.
can. Then he
I
can,
think so.
Then he can shake hands with Dan Fouts in Canton, Ohio.
I don't think you
Who
might
cares?
be the only
Then he can
person.
shake hands with Dan Marino in Canton, Ohio.
Rich, you know people.
And those guys aren't
people out
thought
there
of
do not
as
care
here.
about that. They don't care.
Here's the deal.
For as cool as it is,
Dion
we
is
know.
right. Go ahead. TJ.
I'm just saying, we know Dan Fouts was great. We know Dan Marino was great.
Right.
But the reason Dan Marino isn't in anyone's top 5 list, which by all accounts he should be, he had
No, I
as much
understand that
talent, is because
championships mean everything. I get it.
unfortunately.
Dion
I'm
is
not
right.
even
There are
saying it's
tiers
right.
to the Hall of Fame.
We're conflating everything now. When you say something to prove, it means you're worthy of your contract or your status. Okay.
And is Love
And-
there yet?
and-
I don't know.
And I think he has proven he's got certain abilities that he can hone into being a Super Bowl quarterback if he takes that step forward and the roster around him improves.
Too inconsistent. He was not good last year, and the
Okay.
team kind of
If
weirdly
you're
got
saying-
better.
if you're-
But it wasn't because of him. It was because of Josh Jacobs.
Okay. But if you're throwing Josh Allen into the same mix, he's proven he can win a Super Bowl. He's proven.
No,
so
he
is
hasn't
Lamar
proven he
Jackson.
can win a Super Bowl. He hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, you have to actually
He
win a
hasn't-
Super Bowl to prove
He hasn't.
that you can win a Super
Neither has
Bowl.
Lamar Jackson. They've
I
proven
mean,
they can win MVP.
yeah.
They've proven they can be great over a
They've proven
16-game
they have
period.
the talent to win a Super Bowl. I think Joe Burrow has proven that he has the talent to win a Super Bowl. I think all of those things. I think who else has proven that? Stafford has proven. Well, he's won a Super Bowl. Okay.
Yeah.
We have difference of opinions. I don't think he has much to prove.
Jordan Love doesn't have much to prove.
I'll call this an
Okay.
overreaction. What else, Chris?
Speaking of quarterbacks with stuff to prove, someone other than the Texans is going to win the AFC South.
I don't think that's an overreaction.
You see, CJ Stroud isn't even throwing. It's June. The season starts.
I got it.
Very soon, sooner than you'd think.
Neither is Aaron Rodgers.
And he's not throwing. We've seen video of Aaron Rodgers at least throwing to a player now on
What,
the
you don't
team that
think-
he might
You
go
don't think
to.
C.J. Stroud's throwing a football?
No, he has a pec issue and
Okay.
can't throw.
All right.
That concerns me.
Guess what? I hear you. I think the Colts could potentially be.
Who's their quarterback?
I know. Trying to Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Also, let's not. I don't want to sleep.
Tennessee?
I don't want to sleep on Cam Ward. I think he's going to be good.
Okay, I like it. No one's talking about him.
No one. Absolutely not.
Name me the last first overall drafted quarterback that hasn't been talked about, like Cam Ward isn't being talked about.
No idea.
I'll say this is not an overreaction. I'll buy this one. What else?
You're buying this one.
I did.
Oh.
I just did, didn't I?
Let's talk NBA real quick. Let's
You don't
switch.
think C.J. Stroud has thrown a football in 2025?
He's got a pec issue.
I understand what his issue is. Okay, what else?
The Pacer. Hear me out on this one. NBA Finals Thursday. We got to wait 3 more
Thursday,
days.
yeah.
Jeez, what are we doing? The Pacers will have a series lead at some point in the finals.
I like it. I like it.
Maybe they win game 1. I don't know. Maybe they go up 2-1. I don't know. They're going to have a lead in the series.
Let me just say the Pacers have a knack. Okay? They had the Knicks. They've got the knacks. All right?
They're kind of a crazy team.
Dude.
They play crazy games.
Why wouldn't they be able to take game 1 in Oklahoma City?
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Just stay within 14 and see what happens.
With 2 minutes to go.
Yeah. Throw the ball off the back iron and let it go pop up in the air and then through the hoop, touching nothing but net.
Rich, you said the
What the hell?
What the hell?
You said the Pacers have the knack.
Yeah.
So that mean they're going to sting my Sharona out there at some point?
I like it.
Good girls do.
How does
They're not one-hit wonders, pal.
we alluded to it, but how is Halliburton not MVP of the Eastern Conference
Oh,
Finals?
Siakam was unstoppable. Siakam was unguardable.
I looked at the stat. I mean, they both had an argument.
I know, but the only thing you're going to remember about the Eastern Conference Finals is the choke and the shot that went up and through, and that was one guy.
Well,
and his perfect game.
I understand that, but also game 2 when the Knicks had every chance to even the series at home, but couldn't, is because Siakam carried the team. We just don't remember that because the other stuff is much more flashy.
I know.
What else, Chris? You got another?
Rich, you saw this firsthand.
Hold on. Do we have one more? Is this one?
No.
We're not there yet.
No, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Despite all their injuries, the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. They got like 14 pitchers on the injured list.
The Tigers.
Mookie isn't even playing.
The Tigers are the best team in baseball so
Name
far.
2 Tigers. Name 2.
I'm not even going to dignify that.
Because you can't.
I'm not gonna
Everyone knows
dignify it.
Screwball. Name another one.
I'm not going to.
Lou Whitaker, Harmon Killebrew.
I'm not dignifying that.
Killer.
I'm not dignifying that.
Magnum, Thomas Magnum.
It's right.
Magnum PI played for them.
Matt Noakes.
Maglio Ordonez. Like we can't.
I'm not going to dignify it.
Cecil Fielder.
I'm not dignifying it. By the way, this business.
You're seeing that in your nightmares.
I've had enough of this. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, you saw that like 28 times in 2 days.
Well, not yesterday.
Almost though. You got a little worried when Pajas homered.
Excuse me. What else you got?
Listen.
What else you got?
One more. I did not know
I
this.
know this.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're having one more. Here's the deal. Hockey starts. The Stanley Cup Finals coming up this week, right?
The Stanley Cup Final.
Rematch. Oilers.
Wednesday.
Panthers.
Puck drops.
Here's the deal for the NHL. They need Connor McDavid to win this thing. We can't have fake hockey states carrying the cup around, okay? Florida Schmorda.
Wow.
We need a Canadian team to win the cup and the best player in hockey to have that trophy over his head. McDavid, they need it, and they're going to, if there's a Scott Foster in the NHL, he's doing every game. They need McDavid to win the cup.
Kachuk did that last year.
Christopher, as somebody who is a Los Angeles resident,
Florida, what are we doing?
let me ask you this question.
How many cups the state of Florida won recently?
How many Kings games have you been to?
Since I've moved here?
Yes.
Oh, a bunch.
Okay.
Yeah, like 20 maybe.
Would you call the Kings fans diehard hockey fans?
They are.
Oh, they
Damn
are.
straight.
They are.
100%.
Okay.
Yep.
So then why we're just as warm and
We're not. It's not. Have you been to Florida recently?
Yeah, there's a lot of humidity.
no. I'm just saying, like this. I'm not arguing about the weather. I'm talking about calling them fair weather hockey fans just because they live in Florida.
I'm saying there shouldn't be hockey in Florida.
Why? What's the point?
There's no
what's your
ice.
point?
There's no ice in the state of Florida naturally.
I understand that there
We
are
do have
mountains
ice.
and we have
We have
skiing
ice.
here. I know there's a
You know what I
skiing.
mean? We at least have good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's insane.
Leave ice.
I would love to see a great series. Let's put it that way. But I'll rule overreaction and move on.
Big Bear.
On
Stanley
behalf
Cup
of
loves Florida since
Exactly.
it spent so much time there.
You know what I mean?
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.